Alright, so this is a 2-cycle phase for the off-season training. Just a couple ways you could do it. Our monthly volume is 1,100 repetitions for this. So these are the exercises. So we got squats, cleans, presses, pulls, posterior chains, snatches, and jerks. You choose what percentage you're going to allocate to each one, so what you want to focus on. So this is the predicted volume from when you select all the percentages here, and this is what we're actually going to use. So we use this to kind of plan out what we're going to do, and then we go below it and actually do what we're going to use for our actual training sessions. So for our first cycle, we got 24% for squats, 20% for cleans, 18% for presses, 12% for pulls, 15% for posterior chain, 11% for snatches, and 0% for jerks. Second cycle, we go to 20% for squats, 20% for cleans, 14% for presses, 12% for pulls, 17% for posterior chain, 10% for snatches, 7% for jerks. Now we go less on presses for cycle 2 because we're adding jerks into it, and we'll get more overhead, stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons we're going to limit some of the pressing volume. This is a little bit different than straight out of the system. So for our initial phase, we want to focus more on posterior chain compared to the pulls. You know, you will train posterior chain from using the pulls, but we will use like shoulder elevated hip lifts and stuff like that to really hit the glutes and the hammies. And you can see that by the percentages here. We don't have jerks in the first phase because we are working on strengthening with our presses, so our overhead pressing before we go into our explosive movements with the shoulders. So this is an example of a 2-week, 4-day cycle 2. Again, we're using 1,100 repetitions. So I'll go through the predicted here. So predicted for our first week, we got 59 reps for squats, 59 for cleans, 42 for presses, 36 for pulls, 50 for posterior chain, 30 for snatches, 21 for jerks. The days, our repetitions equal the same thing. So for day 1, I'd have 16 reps, day 2, 13 reps, and that would be the same way across the board. But the way we want to do it to make sure we're not overtraining, getting overuse injuries, is to make sure we're not doing everything on the same day. And we want to try to hit 10 to 12 repetitions for the minimum effective dose for training the exercises. So whatever exercises fall below that, you can allocate additional repetitions so you can put them on different days. An example of that would be for our day 1 here, we have presses on it. We do not have presses on day 2 and day 4. And we move our snatches and our jerks to day 2s and day 4. So we do our overhead stuff on day 2 and day 4, and we do our incline and our horizontal pressing movements on day 1 and day 3. Day 4, we took out the clean movements, so you can kind of see how you can adjust these numbers to fit how you want it to do. So let's go through a rundown. Our first day here, we got squats, cleans, presses, posterior chain. So primarily a strength day. Day 2 will be a power day. Day 3 will be another strength day, and day 4 will be another power day. That's how it's kind of broken up. Our total here, so our total volume for week 1 for our predicted is 297 reps. For day 1, 80 reps. Day 2, 65 reps. Day 3, 95 reps. Day 4, 56 reps. The undulation is the same as progressing from the weekly blocks. For our actual volume, it's not much different. So some picking and choosing of where you're going to allocate those reps to and what days you're going to do something of those exercises on might change things up a little bit, but it won't be that different. So for example, we got an entire week, we got 295 for our actual volume, 80 reps for day 1, which is the same, 68 reps, so we got 3 more than the predicted, 91 for day 3, and we got 56 for day 4. So there's not much that difference, and those little nuances aren't going to make much of a difference. The big thing is planning your routines. We all hear those sayings of failing to plan is planning to fail. This whole system is designed to prevent that from happening. You know exactly what you're going to be doing and when you're going to be doing it. Week 2, so we see a little bit of a drop in volume with the undulation, and you'll see that with the numbers off to the side. So for our predicted volume, we got 297 for week 1. We got 242 total reps for week 2. For our cycle 2, we go down for our actual, we got 295, 242. So the volume stays the same. Repetitions are very similar. It works the same way. I try to keep the same workout design from cycle to cycle. That way it makes things easier when you transition. Again, day one and 3 stay strength days, day 2 and day 4 stay explosive days. So we'll do our cleans, explosives type squats, our snatches, and our jerks overhead. Also our pulls, because I don't want to go pulls, posterior chain on the same day. Again, the pulls are working your posterior chain. We don't want to get overuse injuries and have guys start hurting their lower backs or getting hamstring strains or other overuse things. So one way to help with that is alternate. So posterior chain day 1, day 3, we got pulls, day 2, day 4. If you have any questions, let me know.